Everybody, welcome back to another episode of J&L Garage. So today we've got something new as usual in the shop, and it's something that hopefully y'all will be excited about. We've got a new truck build, and well, I'm excited about it. So this is a new to me 1996 Toyota Tacoma, four-wheel drive, automatic. That's really the only downside to this truck, is it being, well, there's two downsides, excuse me. It is an automatic, and it's also got a salvage title. I guess we could get into the engine itself. As far as under the engine bay goes, we don't even have to pop this hood. It's a stock 3RZ 2.7 liter 4-cylinder. Don't really care about doing anything under the hood. The only thing in the engine bay that I want to address is I want to do an EGR delete on it, because it is 25 years plus in age now. I can get away with that without the EPA trying to get me or getting a ticket or some crazy crap. So not only that, but it'll help the life of the engine from here on out. And then we're going to do a full intake clean out with new gaskets and everything all the way up to the throttle body on this old girl. Just that way she runs cleaner, runs smoother for the rest of her life. So on top of the speedometer not working, it also had one more check engine, or one more engine code on it, and that was for the O2 sensor, which I have in the truck. It's actually up on the dash, I believe, or maybe in the seat. But I'm going to be putting that on today, and hopefully that clears one of our check engine codes. Now, the speedometer, I'm going to be waiting on parts for it. I'm not going to be ordering it right now. Today I'm going to be putting a radio in her, because 90s radios, if anybody has experienced them, you've experienced them all. None of them were built that well as far as lasting. I think it was just the manufacturers were limited by the technology they had at the time. But I'm going to be ripping the old factory radio out and getting a new one put in today. I've just got a cheapo one from Walmart with the Walmart kit that I'm putting in for now. It's the universal kit. And then, you know, if we want to spice up the interior and get some more sound in there later, obviously I can always change out that radio, because it's just a single DIN. I think it's a dual. It's like $25 from Walmart. And I've already had two of them and they worked great. I've actually got one still in my sound system over there. But I've got to get to ripping this dash apart while we let the exhaust cool off from pulling it down here. And then I will show you guys anything that I find along my way that might be helpful. Just like that, she's out. Now, I am not going to lie, she is a dusty girl. She's very dusty. Let me grab a light so I can show you guys. Now, my grandpa, I'm sure, never rode anywhere with the air conditioner on. Always had the windows down. Does not matter where he was at, what kind of road he was riding on. But, dadgum, is she dusty. So I've got a few other little issues that I'm going to try to address while I'm in here. For one, my, I don't know what you want to call it, the trapdoor system that actually determines where the airflow is going to go. It's not working. It just blows wherever the hell it wants to all the time. And also, my heat control's not working, and that may actually be something under the hood. I haven't come up with the solution on it yet. I'm going to kind of trace it down, see where it goes. But this was a really, really easy process. So I'll show you guys first. Well, first thing is you just want to pull these knobs off. These are the knobs that actually go on here. They slide right off, really, really easy. You just pull them off. There's no pinching or any kind of weird twist you gotta do. Just pull them straight off. Then you want to take, I took a flathead and I just pried this little face off right here. And you got to be kind of careful because your air conditioner switch plugs in through it. But all it is these little tabs, and they're really easy to get off. I took a nice big flathead because with this being an older truck, all this plastic is going to be kind of brittle. Once I pried that off, then I was left looking in here. There's only 2 screws holding this guy in. One is up in the top corner. It's kind of hard to see up under the cup holder. The other one is right here. It's real easy to get to. And that's that other one I was showing you a second ago. Then you've got this plug here that goes to the back of your hazard light switch. Once you get that off, then there was only 2 screws holding my radio in at the top. I do believe from the factory there's supposed to be 4. Yes, there's definitely supposed to be 4 from the factory. But it's alright. I'm sure with this being a salvage title, they probably replaced some of the components in the dash at some point. You know, if they pulled it apart for airbag. So I've already put together the wiring harness. Since this is a standard cab, you need none of the rear speakers, right? There is no rear speakers. It's only front. So this, if I'm not mistaken, would have been your rear speaker wiring harness. In the kit that is at Walmart, it's going to show you to use one of these. And that's because it's universal for whether it's an extra cab or standard cab. The only one that you actually need to wire up is the bigger one, which only has the front speakers and the power in it. And then obviously you have your antenna. It's standard, I think, for what your newer radios are going to have anyways. I don't think you need any adapters. I'll let you know here in a second. But from my research, I didn't see that you needed any adapters. So I'm going to get the wiring harness plugged in. And get my cables routed up, and then I'm going to start digging through this dash kit and seeing what I need in order to get the radio in there, and I'll let you know what I come up with. Alright, so I have finally gotten the kit ready to go. Got my factory brackets mounted on. I pretty much just followed the instructions. The only thing they don't really specify is how they want you to put these factory brackets back on, because it's such a universal kit. But I used this one to start with, this guy and then this guy, but the screw doesn't actually go in deep enough to tighten up around the bracket. So the bracket's got a concave, and then this actual plastic stud is got like a lip built onto, or an embossment, so that way this the concaved or like beveled screw hole, so to speak, centers up on it really well. And then you've also got these 2 tabs on each side that lines up, and then the 2 screws, and then it actually lines up pretty well. To start with, when I was reading on the instructions on the kit, I thought that the radio was going in here, but it doesn't. This is actually a pocket for under a single DIN radio, and then I have to still figure out how I'm going to mount the cage up here. But then this guy is just going to help to fill that gap that was going to be there. Another mistake that I almost made that you guys need to watch for is everything's labeled as far as like right and left. Now both of these brackets say RH. I thought that meant right hand, but you've actually got an R and an L on your factory brackets. Then on these brackets, the little ones that actually mount onto here, I thought they only went one way, but they can be mounted on both sides. You have to be careful. I got lucky and caught it, but I could have seen that being a head scratcher. So it's got left here, and then there is an L. It's right up in there somewhere. You can't quite see it on camera, but there's an L, and then an R, obviously, on the other side. And then the bracket also says right, even though it's upside down. And this is the way that I'm sure it has to go in. Any other configuration, I believe, yeah, if you had this thing backwards or something, this pocket's not going to line up correctly. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to mount my cage in here, because with this being a cheaper, smaller radio, you don't have most single DINs, you know, come out a good ways. dual has managed to pack it all into this little guy. So I've got to figure out how I'm going to mount this smaller cage into here. With a normal size single DIN, you might be able to get one of these screw holes or something to line up once the radio comes all the way back. But we don't have that luxury on this one, so I'm going to see if I can't figure something out right here real quick, and then I'll show you what I come up with. Alright, so she is finally in. I haven't screwed it in yet because I did want to show you guys this part. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is not my ideal setup. However, with the way, as small as this radio is and everything, and with the way the cage is designed, it just does not work real well. However, for whatever reason, this Metra kit, when you attach the brackets to the side of the actual pocket, it's a little bit tighter at the top than it is at the bottom. I don't know if that's by design or what, but it worked out really, really well because it pinches the radio really tight. Now, I wasn't completely happy with that. It still had too much wobble room back and forth. It can't come out and it can't go backwards, but it's got too much wobble in it. Once you get it lined up with the fascia for the actual pocket itself. So what I did was this cage, this radio cage, has the screw holes here. It's a universal cage where you can't put it on wrong. Now, if it was made where these were at the bottom on both sides, like this, it would work out pretty good, because the screws provided with the Metra kit actually screw in to these holes. Now, are they the right thread? Probably not. They're like a sheet metal plastic screw. But the hole is big enough that the threads bite really, really well, and they pinch it good. So once I clamped this down onto this cage, it's got a little bit of pressure on the side of the radio, but it's just part of the actual support of where the wiring harness connects. I'll see if I can show you. See right down there where that gap is? That's going to be where the screw actually comes through and hits the aluminum framing of the radio itself. I don't think that's going to cause any problems, just because it's not like it's an electrical connection or anything, and I'm not worried about it having a short or anything because it doesn't have enough pressure on it to crack it. I only got it pinched against the cage, so it's just kind of pushing the radio that way inside of the cage, pulling the cage out some. So I've already tested it, and with the single cab, I believe I was correct. I haven't lost any function so far, if I can get it just back in there, to where everything seems to still be working with only that one wiring harness for the front speakers working. So I guess I'll flip it on here, let you guys see that it does come on. I will say, as much as I like the value that you get out of these little $25 radios, it is kind of aggravating that it does not have a what do they call it? It's a dimmer, so to speak. So all these newer radios that you see, they're really bright, right? Because they've got LEDs, they've got newer lights, newer electronics in them, so they're brighter than your dash lights or whatever, and it can be kind of a nuisance. You end up having to turn your dash lights up really, really bright in order to be able to see them when it's dark, because this is so bright that it's pulling your eyes away. And this radio is the only radio I know of that does not have that built in, which on the wiring harness would be an orange wire. Now, the factory adapter harness has an orange wire, but the radio harness itself does not have it because the radio doesn't have a dimmer function, which is aggravating, to say the least. But It'll be okay for now. Like I said, until we can do better. I think if when I get ready to maybe put a better stereo system or a better radio in here, if I ever get to that point, and if I want to upgrade my speakers and maybe put, one subwoofer in the back or something, then I'm probably going to end up changing this guy, even though it's good for subs and everything. I've got a 12-inch sub built into my shop speaker box over there. But this guy, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't quite have the features I would want in something that I eventually want to make nice. When I get ready to upgrade the radio, I'm going to do a different dash kit as well, I do believe. Just because it's such a universal fit, that it doesn't work well. And who knows, I may actually just order a radio first, and try it with this universal kit. It may just be this radio. It may work awesome with a different radio. But anyways, you guys have seen that the wiring harness does work. I've got the antenna plugged up. I'm going to kind of put the screws back in, button everything back up, get it all put back together, and we shall see the final product. All right, so she's all buttoned up, and I will go ahead and say, now that the fascia and everything is on for the dash itself, it's going to bother me the way this fits. I'm sure you can see it. I mean, the way that this has got a bow in it because it's being pinched. And then on top of that, the radio is actually facing the passenger. It's got an angle to it, and it's also kind of sitting up. Definitely not, 100% pleased with that right there at all. But, what are you going to do? It's a $20 universal kit from Walmart. So if you would be happy with the way this fits here, and who knows, you may be able to get it to fit even better than that. This is definitely a viable option. It's very affordable, very cheap, and it works really well. And I also like the fact that you add a little bit of storage, because in a single cab Tacoma, there's not a lot of storage for like a wallet, and I've got like safety glasses that go with me everywhere and everything. So that pretty much wraps up that part. And I believe that's going to kind of do it for this video, you guys. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it helped somebody with their own install. And you guys let me know in the comments for sure how you think we should build the new Tacoma. What do you think we should do to it in the long run? And leave it in the comments below, and be looking forward to some more videos, some more how-tos, and some upgrades on the Tacoma. And as always, have a good one.